The opinions, viewpoints, and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Scarefest Radio, the radio you can see.
And hello everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Television after our brief hiatus due to a medical emergency on the farm, which means it doubles as work. I wonder if doctors, when they have a emergency, if they call it a work emergency or a medical emergency. Anywho, the original broadcast date is April 16th, 2021, and our guest tonight is Cailee Holmes. She's from Salem, Mass, and we're going to be talking to her tonight. She is trying to start a horror-themed restaurant in what could possibly be the spookiest city on the face of the planet. My co-host tonight is Mr. Chad Harlan. Hey, Chad.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm peachy. Pull up me and Chad a minute. Now, everyone, Chad and myself have been COVIDized. We got both of us got our second shots this week. I on Wednesday, and Chad. No, you got yours. Yeah, you got yours today. So, I survived, and if a health nut like me can make it through it, it ought to just be greased lightning.
So far, so good. So, fingers crossed.
Everyone, I will tell you, we do have a celebrity announcement tonight. We're going to drop that at the 30-minute mark after the commercial break. And I'm going to warn everybody, I'm just about ready to lose the winter beard. If Kentucky weather hadn't took a turn for the worse, where they're talking freeze warnings by the end of next week, I would have already dropped it. But so the winter beard is almost gone. Chad, I'm thinking about keeping it, though, until the mystical market, because I'm wanting to do Peter, my Captain
Jack Rabbit.
I forgot the character name. Captain Jack Rabbit, and I thought that him being a pirate, the beard might be more authentic. What's your opinion on that?
I think just go down to a soul patch.
Yeah.
You don't have to kiss him.
Now I'll try to do it. I wonder what the Tony Stark thing would look like.
No, I do it voluntarily.
Now that I'm COVIDized, I cannot wait to lick Brandon Griffith upside the head. I'm just gonna walk up when I see him, give him a big one. Okay, Cailee, I'm sorry, Cailee Holmes, everybody. Now, now understand the restaurant, the working, the Crypt. Is that what I picked up?
The Crypt, yes.
Okay, now I know you're crowdfunding it, and you're doing several so-called fundraisers. First of all, I want to ask you, where did this idea come from?
Oh man, I came up with this idea about 8 years ago. I've been in the restaurant industry since I started working, so a long time now, about 18 years. And I wanted to find a way to combine my two biggest passions, which was horror and food. And that's where I came up with this. And in the past year, from being home, thanks to COVID, I get my second shot next week. We could really get the ball rolling and make it a reality.
Now, okay, COVID-related question. Now, of course, me not starting a restaurant in the middle of COVID, how fucking scary would it be to go ahead and start putting this in motion while the restaurant business took a hit. Let's just say it. Now I realize, so
that it's been interesting. So that's why we've kind of stayed away from banks, and we've been crowdfunding and doing it the way we're doing, because we know the banks are not not willing to give out loans to restaurants right now, that's for sure. We're going into it with the idea that COVID regulations are going to be in place for a while, and we think that maybe will give us a little edge up. And we wanted to show, that this industry and the city is resilient, and that's a huge reason we wanted to do it now.
Little follow up to that. Now, where are you in Salem as far as regulations? I mean, we're still under the thumb now. People are getting a little lackadaisical, but we're still under a mask mandate, 6 foot distancing, even though the CDC says 3 foot's plenty, Bashir. Anyway.
We're still under full mask mandate here in Massachusetts. 6 feet. I believe restaurants are now at 50% capacity, but they've been really wonderful at doing outdoor seating and making outdoor seating more of a thing, especially in Salem. The city's really gone out of their way to make sure restaurants can have as many seats really as possible within the guidelines.
I'm just going to follow up by saying, in our area, if the restaurant was doing the outside thing, and in the wintertime you had to have the tent, I actually had restaurants tell me they were reported because they didn't close the flaps quick enough. Somebody.
That's not really surprising.
They would open them up when they were not doing anything, but but no, you have to have your flaps down because. Yeah.
Yep. We've heard from a lot of friends around town that there's been calls about all sorts of ridiculous things, and not necessarily anything that even has to do with COVID. Just people think that now they have more of a reason to complain thanks to COVID, and we're hoping that's not the case for us, but you never know.
I met a lot of people that just wanted their hair to catch on fire. Over to you, my co-host, Chad Harlan.
Cailee, it's great to talk to you tonight.
Well, Chad.
Just some background questions. Are you from Salem, or did you move there because of the history?
Well, I grew up 2 towns over, so I was always in and out of Salem, and as someone who's a horror and Halloween fanatic, I couldn't get enough of it. So when my fiance and I decided to, look for our house, this was the only place that we were going to settle for, and we wound up finding a really great little house, little great red house on the hill, and we just love this community, and it's just the dream of us to maintain the community is what we want to bring into the restaurant.
Kind of building on that, it's a horror themed restaurant. What came first, the idea for that or your passion for horror?
The horror definitely came first since I was a little kid. I mean, I can pinpoint it to reading Goosebumps books and maybe sneaking behind my parents' chair and seeing a movie I probably shouldn't have seen. I did that a lot. I got in trouble for that a lot. Just Are You Afraid of the Dark? Scary stories to tell in the dark, all things like that just kind of molded me to a horror fan. So I was definitely a horror fan before I ever learned how to cook anything.
And you said you've been in the restaurant industry about 18 years?
Yep.
Just how did that evolve?
Honestly, I was 13 and my parents said the bank of mom and dad is closing. You better go find a job. So I found a job very quickly. And honestly, it was something that was just a job for a long time. And until I found the right restaurant job where I was like, I really love this. I actually really want to do this. And from then it's just evolved into this is my passion. And I'm glad that I found it and that it's something that actually works, because my passion before that was film writing, and we all know that doesn't work out so well for everybody. So,
well, it sounds like you're trying to combine the two.
Oh, absolutely.
You mentioned some of the books and stuff. So, what type of horror do you gravitate towards? More classics or slasher? Or?
I love all of them. I mean, I'm a big Fright Night fan. I think Fright Night is a great horror movie just because it was made as a love letter to horror fans. So I love the way that mixed in, and I'm a huge, definitely 80s slasher person. I love, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween. I love all those ones, but I'm kind of into anything. That's what I call horror porn, the Hostel kind of era of movies. Not really my thing, but I'll still watch them.
So combining those two together, how did you come up with the idea? You said it was about 8 years ago. How did you come up with the idea for the themed restaurant?
One day what I was doing, I was sitting in a cemetery in Salem, which I tend to do when it's nice out because it's nice and quiet. Nobody really bugs you there. And I was on a break at a restaurant job, and I was looking around and at all like the horror fans who flock to the city. And a lot of people now come for the history and for the sort of tourism aspect. But what Salem really is, it's a mecca for horror fans. People come all year round, not just in October, to kind of check out this little Halloween town that we have. And I was like, what's missing is a place for us all to hang out and get a bite to eat at a place that's kind of catered for horror fans. And that's where it was born. And I don't know how it's not a thing yet, but we're glad that we're going to be the ones to do it.
What's your idea for the theme of it? I mean, is it going to be horror related food or just decor, or give us a little overview of what you're thinking?
So the decor, we went into it saying we don't want this to be Planet Hollywood or Hard Rock Cafe. Like, we want it to be a tasteful kind of creepy place. The menu is basically burgers and sandwiches, and all of them all the names are tied in with either films or characters. There's a couple of nods to famous historical figures from Salem as well. It's like, the Hellraiser burger is super spicy. It's got, buffalo sauce, jalapenos, poblano peppers. Our basic one we call an American werewolf in a bun, which is just a classic American burger. So it's a lot of puns in the menu, but it works.
Right now, let me toss it over, and I think it's about time for a break, and we'll be right back.
Horror. Movie. Fans. 4. Life. On Facebook. Find us. 4 watch parties. 4 news. 4 memes. 4 friends. 4 life. Horror movie fans for life. Join us.
Everyone is talking about CBD oil. Most of us know that CBD is a cannabis compound that has significant medical benefits, but does not make people high. Its benefits include pain relief, anti-seizure properties, anxiety relief, fights cancer, reduces the risk of diabetes, and it is even used as a sleep aid. Blue Leaf Naturals CBD and hemp products are full-spectrum hemp extract oils. They use only hemp grown in Kentucky, supporting Kentucky farmers and businesses and helping you and your family stay healthy and well. Blue Leaf Naturals, created with care from seed to shelf. Visit their website at blueleafnaturals.com. Blue Leaf Naturals, a Kentucky proud company. And welcome back, everybody, to Scarefest TV. Our guest tonight is Cailee Holmes. She is putting together a little something she's calling The Crypt, a horror-themed restaurant in Salem, Massachusetts. Now, of course, being in Salem, Massachusetts, I'm obligated to ask you, are you in fact a witch?
I am not, but the other person who lives in my house certainly is. My fiance.
There you go. Now, is she one of them book-learned witches, or is it family? Second, third generation.
She's a book learned. She's got a whole group of little friends, and they I don't mess with them, put it that way.
Okay, okay, serious. Okay, now you described a little bit about how you're working it in with the menu and everything. Now, what do you envision decor-wise? And the reason I realize you said not over the top. The reason I'm asking is my boss, for my birthday, one of the things they gave me was a I wear Hawaiian shirts, and they gave me a horror-themed Hawaiian shirts, and it's got all the main movie characters on it. And I'm thinking, every time I walk out the door, I'm a copyright infringement in the works. I can just tell. So, I mean, is that something you've actually checked into? Because, I mean, if you put Hellraiser's picture on the menu, you know.
Absolutely. So we wanted to keep it names only. We're hoping the decor, we want you to walk in and be like, oh man, I can't tell if I'm actually like in a crypt. I don't know. So we want to keep it, it's a dark, dreary, gothic looking place. We'd like to, we're planning on hopefully screening some movies, whether indie or mainstream horror movies as well. It's basically just going to be like the fan kind of place.
The screening like 80s and 90s horror movies is really not that hard once you have the connection to do it. You get the distributor. I mean, a couple $100 a night, so on big events, that's not that hard. The independents, the only thing I'll tell you is make sure you watch them first. Because
yeah, definitely.
I'm judging a film festival right now, and although now last year I judged a film festival and I don't think we had even made the cut because we decided it was graphic, but blood's not a problem. But it actually had a vampire zombie woman, chomp off a man's manhood. And it was, it kind of threw us there.
That's definitely what people want to see while they're trying to eat, too, right?
Now, as far as the project overall, first of all, what's your view? Have you set a date when you're going to, do this, or are you kind of letting the funding get ahead of the date? where are you at there?
Well, we're trying not to set a direct date because anyone in the restaurant industry will tell you if you set a direct date, you shoot yourself in the foot. We're aiming to be in our location by spring 2022. Long game, we are definitely going to be doing some pop-ups in Salem this summer so that everybody can have a chance to try the food so that they know it's good and don't just come necessarily for the allure of the place. We want the tourists to come for the allure, but we want to make sure the locals know that it's a good place to eat as well.
No, that didn't work. Oh, well. I was trying to do something cool on my computer here, and all I did was mess up the frame. Now, incidentally, what I was trying to get up on screen, Eric Morrison, one of our Scarefest stalwarts and the guy behind Horror Movie Fans for Life, the page, says he's got some horror memorabilia that he might be willing to put on loan to you for your restaurant. So,
we'd always be welcome to take it.
So
always
look him up, Eric
it.
Morrison. Eric
Will
Morrison. Yeah, because I did that, and I've completely forgotten my next question. Okay, so you not even really set a goal for it. See, now the secret, call it a soft opening. Soft opening. That way, that way.
Soft opening or friends and family only.
But okay, now as far as your fundraising goals, I have no idea what it costs to start a restaurant. None of my business really. But how is the fun?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can imagine. Starting anything nowadays is ridiculous. But how far
really
along
is.
are you as far as your monetary goals?
We're actually doing a lot. Going a lot quicker than I thought we were going to. So not only did we have an old friend of ours who started a GoFundMe for us, which was very generous and awesome. What we're doing to main fundraise is we have a page on Facebook where we raffle off horror collectibles and memorabilia so that everybody kind of wins. So we're getting money for the restaurant and fans are getting a chance to build their collections. But we are probably by end of the summer, I want to say we're going to be at least 50%, I hope.
Okay. Over to you, Chad.
Well, that kind of leads into my question is what avenues are you using to fundraise? Are you strictly going through the GoFundMes and the auctions, or are you bringing in some partners? Or
we're courting investors is what we like to call it. We have a couple of people who are interested. We are going to definitely explore that avenue. We wanted to do it more of a investor and crowdfunding. just as like for the fans, by the fans. So we wanted to kind of keep the banks out of it as much as we possibly could. Are we probably going to have to get one in, for the last couple steps? Probably. But like I said, I mean, they're not really down to give restaurants any loans right now, given thank you to COVID. So we're hoping that we can kind of do this for other restaurants too, to see if we did this successfully, that they can do it as well.
Let's explore that a little bit. You mentioned thanks to COVID, and you said earlier that COVID's given you kind of a chance to flesh this out some. What's been going on during COVID in Massachusetts with restaurants?
Oh man, well luckily in Salem there haven't been many closures other than places that were probably going to close before. Boston got hit really, really hard. Lost a ton of restaurants that had been around for 20, 30, 40 years too. But we've been really lucky in Salem that pretty much everything that was here at the beginning of COVID is still going strong, and we're hoping that keeps up. We love to support our local restaurants and business. Obviously as somebody who lives here, I go out to eat and support our local businesses all the time. So we never want to see anything close. We're just hoping that maybe the right spot opens up for us. We just don't want to see anybody else lose something over it. There is a little bit of real estate kind of popping up in town. The city is just ever evolving. So we're hoping we find that spot pretty soon.
How's it affected restaurant workers in the area?
Oh man, well I can tell you that every restaurant that I know of is advertising that they need cooks, that they need waitresses. I think a lot of it too, I mean, I was working in a restaurant job when COVID hit and I had to go into quarantine. And for the first couple months, I mean, unemployment was kind of hooking the restaurant industry up a lot. And I think it's still kind of giving a lot of people a hard time hiring because people can still get those unemployment benefits. I'm sure as soon as spring and summer rolls around, I mean, with this especially being the tourist town that it is, restaurants in this town are a moneymaker. So people will definitely be willing to get back in. I think once, more people are vaccinated, that'll help as well.
How's tourism been overall in the area through this?
You would think nothing happened. Last year, the mayor kept coming out saying, please, postpone your trip. Come in November, come in December, come in the spring. You went downtown last October. It was like nothing had changed. It was still super busy. I mean, I can't imagine how much busier this year is going to be for the people that actually did decide to stay home. I think this upcoming year is going to be a big one for Salem.
You mentioned doing some pop-ups. Those all going to be at physical locations? Or are you going to do any food truck stuff? Or
Oh no, we've been told to stay away from food trucks. We think, unfortunately for food trucks, what has to go into them, there's so much other than just the truck. Having to convert everything over. Plus, in order to do that, you actually need a restaurant to approve you doing your prep there. And with COVID, not too many restaurants are really willing to let a bunch of strangers in that they don't know. But we have found a great person in Salem who runs kind of a kitchen that encourages pop-ups and is a really great stepping stone for new restaurants. So we're hoping to work with that person. We're kind of finalizing the details on that right now, and it'll all be right in Salem. We don't want to move it anywhere. So it's going to be kind of focused a lot in the tourist areas too, so locals and tourists can get a nice taste of the crypt.
Cool. We talked about the menu a little bit. Have you started planning any of the drink specials yet? Or
Oh, we sure have. My business partner is a cocktail mastermind. We have like even just one of them that you can get mocktail or regulars. We have a Pennywise float. It's just a root beer float with that we can do with alcoholic root beer, regular, nice little whipped cream and cherry on top. We have red rum. We have the Amity Islander. All sorts of stuff. We're going to have them in IV bags and vials. It's going to be pretty fun for the drinks.
Oh, and I can imagine that, especially if you're close kind of the main downtown area, that'll be a big draw during Halloween.
Oh, absolutely. I can't imagine for Halloween how that's going to be for us. Just knowing from the restaurants I've worked in Salem during October that had absolutely nothing to do with Halloween or anything, how busy they would get. I don't think we are really ever going to be fully prepared for how that's going to go for us.
What kind of pre-marketing are you doing? I know you've got a Facebook page. What else are you doing kind of reach out and contact the masses?
Oh man, social media is one of those things you love to hate it and you hate to love it. So we do have our Facebook page. We have an Instagram as well. I don't really Twitter very much, but I think my business partner is going to start a Twitter for us. And a lot of it too has been word of mouth. I mean, we were out a couple weeks ago and people were like, "Oh, like I've seen your videos, we watch your stuff," which is weird for me because I'm like just trying to chow down on lunch with my mouth half full, and people are like, "Oh, we watch your videos." It's been really lucky. I mean, we're closing in on 900 members on our Facebook group, and we've only had it for I think about 2 months, so it's growing, and it's people nationwide, which is awesome too.
Great. Go ahead and plug that. What's the name of the group?
So the name of the group is Cails from the Crypt. So that's my first name, Cails from the Crypt. And it also says horror razzles and crowdfunding. So unfortunately, you can't use words like raffle on Facebook. Zuckerberg, not a big fan of that one. So we call them razzles. So if you want to come join us, we do multiple games every day, all sorts of stuff.
Great. It's about time for another break, so let's toss over to that, and we'll be back in a minute.
Spirit Mechanics is here to help. Their background includes many different specialties across the metaphysical spectrum, including alchemy, shamanism, Celtic witchcraft, angelic magic, astral travel, and more.
With over 30 years combined experience in the group, you can be confident in their ability to help. If there is a question you have that you cannot answer, they will do their best to assist you.
Metaphysics can be intimidating, confusing, and unfortunately, abused. Spirit Mechanics takes pride in being selfless in the pursuit of helping others, being humble and honest with their clients about their questions, and lastly, maintaining a professional and personable atmosphere. They want you to feel as you are coming to a close friend, and they will do everything in their power to make you comfortable and safe.
TellMeTarot.com. Rare tarot and oracle decks for the discerning enthusiast or collector. Our decks are not for everyone. If you are a rare deck collector, art collector, or simply fall in love with a deck, then we might be for you. Right now, get 10% off your first order just for subscribing to their newsletter. Shipping is just $5.99 in the United States. TellMeTarot.com.
Chad's starting to talk up to the right at the end of the commercial break. Everybody, welcome back to Scarefest TV. We do have a celebrity announcement tonight. She was supposed to have been here last year, but you know what? You know what a dumpster fire 2020 turned out to be. So bringing back from the lost year, Amelia Kincaid. Amelia, gosh, what all was she in? Night of the Demons. Oh, 2 and 3. So she made a career on that. But anyway, great. We're going to try to have her on the show, everybody, because she's also a pet communicator. We were discussing before the show. I have to find out if she talks to animals or they talk back. That is where I decided to make the difference between pet psychic and pet communicator. So, Amelia Kincaid coming to 2020. Tonight, after the show, join at our patreon.com/scarefestradio. Join the after party and you can be a part of tonight's really bad tarot gallery with yours truly. First virtual tarot gallery, I should say first virtual really bad tarot gallery I've ever done. So we're going to see how this stuff works on the internet. I'm absolutely fantastic in person, I'm told. Don't forget Scarefest Resurrection. Scarefest 13 tickets are on sale. Go to thescarefest.com. October 22nd through 24th. That's when it's happening, people, and we're confident this year that it's going to happen because we're doing other stuff. Anyway, you can also throw axes with killers. We've got See, 5 on the sheet now. We've actually got another one that I haven't added yet because I've been so damn busy. But Throw Axes with Killers. We'll be going to Battle Axes. You'll have a chance to throw with Kane Hodder, Ari Mihailoff, Robert Meeks, Rob Mello, Steve Nappy, and probably about 4 more by the time we sell out all the tickets, because that's how many teams you can have. 1 celebrity per team. Tickets are on sale. Go to thescarefest.com. It's on the ticket page. Central Kentucky Mystical Market is going to happen in May. Finally, May 8th and 9th at the Clarion Hotel on Newtown Pike. And that's where we were discussing earlier in the show whether or not Captain Jack Rabbit should make an appearance, because I got it for Easter. That was my cosplay. I didn't get to use it. I'm pissed. So I'm thinking about bringing him to the Mystical Market in May 8th and 9th. Go to just Central. How do they have that listed? Oh, there it is. It's on my computer. Central KYMysticalMarket.com, or look them up on Facebook. Speaker applications are still in play. We're getting ready to announce our first round of speakers, but I know the deadline is May something. It's either like May 1st, May 31st, or no on Amber Truax. It's like the middle of the month. Who knows? But anyway, they are still taking speaker applications because I remember the deadline was sometime in May. It says on the website, go to thescarefest.com. It'll even tell you the deadline. The Scarefest gift shop is open at scarefestradio.com. We still have some COVID masks. We've got sweatshirts and t-shirts from the last year, and Scarefest TV. We've got a few t-shirts left, and we do have some hats. So go over to scarefestradio.com. Take advantage of the gift shop. Our film festival entries are open. You can either do it directly through Film Freeway, or you can go to thescarefest.com and click the link. But either way, the film festival entries are open, and incidentally, Thursday Night Dead is where my Patreon subscribers are helping us judge the film festival entries, and I haven't posted this week's link yet. You have not missed it. I'll try to have that up here in a day or so. And finally, I want to give a plug to Universal Energy Expo. They've sponsored our show. They had to cancel last year, but they're coming up May 1st and 2nd, 2021. Headlining the event, of course, is our former co-host here at Scarefest TV, Cody Chris Sutton. Also an appearance by the Southern Gypsies, which the group is shuffled around, so I'm not exactly sure who's coming with them. But the Southern Gypsies, I'm sure the Connor sisters will be there. But Cody Chris Sutton and the Connor sisters at Universal Energy Expo. That's Covington, Kentucky. Look them up on Facebook, Universal Energy Expo. And now we're back to the guest. I was just kind of rehashing some stuff. I was a little surprised that you said the tourism industry, you really didn't notice the difference in Salem over the last year. Now, knowing that places were closed and 6-foot social, was it just like zombies wandering the streets? Were the places able to stay open and support the tourism industry?
They were trying. It really, for months, everyone, come back next year, come back another time. Basically everything they could do other than close the borders up in the city, and people still came. I
actually remember that.
And there were just lines.
I remember that back maybe April of last year. Your all's mayor went on Facebook and was on TV saying, "Don't come to Salem." Yeah. Maybe it might have been Halloween. I don't know. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but I do remember that. Now, that I was looking here. Salem Con, which is actually a convention that I've always wanted to go to, but nobody ever offered me a ticket in a car ride. Anyway, Salem Con is coming up April 23rd, 24th, everybody. That's a little Paracon put on by MGH Paranormal. John Zaffis, Scott Grunwald. I'm going to give them a free plug here just for the heck of it. But the interesting thing is, if y'all go, tell them to update their damn webpage. The dates and the tickets are all on sale, but if you scroll down like a web designer like myself is apt to do, at the bottom of it, in 2018, they said this will be our last one. Absolutely our last one. And it says we're a month away from the very last Salem Con. So, dick that up, I guess. But anyway, Now, I'm going to actually lead into a question with all that. Do the tourists that come to Salem, are they more history buffs or paranormal buffs from your or horror buffs for that matter?
It's definitely a good combination of the two. The great thing that actually Salem has done in the past, I would say 20-ish years, is really combined the two. So now they have walking ghost tours at night that go through all the historical places and say this is where this particular historical ghost was seen. I've gone on them. They're actually really cool and very informative. I would say it's definitely become more of a hocus pocus type of place. That's definitely a big draw for Hocus Pocus fans, especially the film. I mean, I remember seeing it in the theater when I was 3 years old. It was the first movie I ever saw in the theater, but people act like it just came out yesterday. It's huge here. So it's definitely more, I think, of a Halloween horror community, paranormal community, that they just come and kind of put up maybe with the historical stuff. I like the historical stuff, but it's definitely, I think, kind of fallen to the wayside.
I was always wondering that because, I mean, I guess the closest correlation I could give it would be Gettysburg. Of course, Gettysburg, the horror, the history is out in front, but I mean, it's one of the meccas for paranormal fans and investigators. So, and I've got to go once. I love the place. I've never made it to Salem. Once again, if Salem Con would like to book me, but just to put that out there. But now as far as your own, of course, you've made it clear you're a horror and history fan. If somebody was coming, other than hopefully your restaurant being open, somebody's coming to Salem, what would you say? Do not miss.
Do not miss. Well, I got to tell you, my favorite place probably in the world. We have a place in town. It's called Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, and it is a horror movie and monster museum, and it is constantly changing. It's awesome in there. They have the greatest stuff. It's one of those things like my one birthday demand every year. I want to go to Count Orlok's, and I go the weekend it opens. That's definitely one of them. Everyone likes to go to the Salem Witch Museum, which definitely, if you're going to come to town, don't miss it. But there's so many great museums and so many great stores now. A lot of the stores, some of them, a lot of them are the same, but they're definitely starting to gear more towards the horror and the Halloween fans than I think they had definitely in years past.
I cannot imagine a more touristy name for a place than Count Orlok's Monster Meat. Yeah, that.
And they're the best. They're great people too. I mean, they'll follow you into the museum and they'll talk horror with you all day, which I love too. That they don't just sit at the desk. That they actually want to chat about it. Those guys are awesome.
Tossing it over to Mr. Chad Harlan, and you've got the wrong screen pulled up because that's me, and I don't want to be on camera.
Okay, let's go back and talk a little bit more about the horror side of it. You kind of mentioned your 80s slashers that were your favorites. Which one of those movies really pulled you in and drew you?
Oh man, that really pulled me. I remember being a kid and finally being able to get the permission to watch the movies, and we begged my mom to start the Friday the 13th series. And every Friday night we would get a new movie from that series. It was definitely Friday the 13th that pulled me in, and it's still one of my favorites to this day.
So that kind of led to your love of the genre.
Oh, definitely.
What other things do you do to kind of embrace that? Are you big on the con circuit, or what do you like to do?
I do. We actually had a con that unfortunately the year before COVID hit, they said they weren't doing anymore. It was called Rock and Shock. It was out in Worcester, Mass. That was awesome. It was just the best. Salem started doing one. We have Salem Horror Fest that they've started within the past couple of years. That is great, and it goes all October long, which is awesome. So you can kind of plan your whole month around it. And I'm hoping, once we open the restaurant, I can still make an event or two, but we'll see.
Kind of going a little off topic, but it's something that we kind of bring up with most of our guests. From Scarefest standpoint, we're a horror and paranormal convention and television. Um, Living in Salem, have you had any good paranormal experiences?
Oh, I sure have. A couple years before I bought this house, I lived in this apartment, and I've always been a believer, but this place like sealed the deal to the point that even my roommate, who was a total skeptic, there's no way this stuff is real, walked into my bedroom one day and he goes, we have ghosts in this apartment, right? And I said, yeah, I do. I go, one's a good one and one's not a good one. And we both actually left pretty quickly due to the activity in that place. It's always something that's fascinated me, I can tell you that much.
What were some of the things that happened?
Oh, a lot of rattling on the wall in my bedroom, particularly. Every single night, if I was sleeping looking at the closet door, the knob would go and open very nicely. If I was faced away, that door would swing wide open to get my attention, and it happened every single night, no matter what I put. I ended up actually putting a chair in front of the door to keep it shut because it just freaked me out every night. But oh yeah, all sorts of stuff. You'd hear like little, and then the basement of that place, I mean, nope, wouldn't go down there alone. Even in broad daylight, it wasn't happening.
I was gonna say, what made you think there was a not nice ghost? Just the fact they were waking you up, or?
Well, waking up and just like anyone that walked into they were like, there's something like not good in here. Even people who were never into paranormal were just like, I just feel this negative energy. And I had a friend actually come. She lived in lives in Colorado, and she came, and she was kind of messing around with some stuff, and the lights in my bedroom particularly started going on and off, and I was like, nope, stop talking to it. I don't want to know what it wants. I'll talk to the nice one all day, but once we get to the not nice ones, I'm all set.
Have you had any other experiences around town, or?
Around town, I personally I haven't, but there are definitely stories. My business partner actually works at a place downtown where they are loaded with activity. And it used to be actually where one of the women who was hung in the witch trials, her apple orchard was on this plot of land. So they like to think that it's her. Still ticked off, and I can't blame her. Nice little old lady hung for no reason whatsoever. I'd be pretty ticked too. So it's definitely in the Hawthorne Hotel, actually. I have experienced something there. I stayed at the Hawthorne Hotel, which is one of the oldest hotels in the country. Me and my fiance stayed there for a night, and yeah, at 4 o'clock in the morning, knocks on the door. You gotta look. Nobody's there. And they're a place that's like always said riddled with activity. And I was like, yeah, we'll see. We had a very eventful night. I'll tell you.
That's really interesting. Like I said, we try to ask all our guests something along those lines because, it's a crossover event. And it's amazing how many people that are involved in one are also tied to the other. So it's always interesting to hear people's stories.
It's always funny to me how many people who actually are into horror that don't believe in the paranormal. And I'm like, they kind of go hand in hand to me anyway.
With that, I think we're about ready for another commercial break. Let me toss it back over.
Mama Ruby offers fun vendor-based events that focus primarily on the metaphysical and spiritual aspects of our lives. Well, 2020 didn't go as planned, to say the least. Since Mama Ruby's can't bring the vendors to you in person, they still encourage you to support them online. For links to these and other outstanding artists, craftspeople, vendors, and psychics, visit mamarubies.com and click shop.
Come visit the Universal Energy Expo, May 1st and 2nd at the Northern Kentucky Convention Center. Meet special guests, Shaman Coyote Chris Sutton and Psychic Southern Gypsies. Over 100 readers, healers, and vendors. Admission also includes door prizes, workshops, and all seminars. The Universal Energy Expo. Come curious, leave enlightened.
Hey, Scarefest. This is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly. I know I'm wearing my hat for the people I work for. And this is part 2 of my stand review. The last one, I concentrated what am I doing with my hair? I concentrated quite a bit on the performances in the stand, the new miniseries. I have finally finished the miniseries, and I don't like it either. This is what an actual person wrote on IMDb. If King had written this book like this non-linear mess, it would have been edited or shelved. The makers of the show assume you A, have read the book and know the material, or B, have seen the original ABC series and know the material. This is a big miss. No character development, no tension, none of the building blocks for good storytelling. Man, it's pretty accurate, and it sums this up. Yes, I've got a cat on me right now. Because I feel like the stand was ready to be updated, not because of COVID, which is interesting how COVID changed the world the whole time I was watching it, like a lot of other people, thinking that, why aren't there more people wearing masks? They're going to catch something. But back to, it's told in a non-linear fashion. You'll be with one character, then go back to where they came from, and that can help. But the first character that they concentrate on is Harold Lauder, and I've told you he's played by Owen Teague. It's just kind of a mess of a mini series. Now, one of the big things, and this is a spoiler alert, I want to get into spoilers. One of the things that people complained about the original 94, directed by Mick Garris, was the ending with the hand of God actually picking up the nuclear weapon and then exploding and killing everyone. And this one is handled slightly differently. Other than better special effects, I don't know it's any better. Basically, a smoke comes in, lightning bolts come in, start cutting people in half, the bad people, killing them, and then the nuclear explosion still happens. But there's a moment in the original miniseries in the book where you hear Mother Abigail's voice. It's like, come on home, to our Larry Underwood and another character that's different in this one. They switch those out. And you say, come on home, because their job was to go to there and stand for what they believe in, stand against evil, make a stand, make a choice. That was the point. And I think it's lost. If they're underwater, it doesn't just have the gravitas of the original. Even with the shitty special effects, the ending of the original was better. In this one, it is slightly, if you've ever read the book, Randall Flagg does get away. In this one, he gets away too. And it sets up the last night of this. It was 9 nights long. It's 9 hours. The last hour is a little bit more like the book of Stu, what's her face, or driving back to Maine because she wants to go back to Maine. She's had her kid. They stop at a house. They have an accident. And this young lady helps them, who may or may not be Mother Abigail reincarnated, which makes no sense. It doesn't in any way, shape, or form push the story along. All it does is set up that they could do a season 2 of this mess, of this nonsense, which they really should never do. It sounds like I've crapped on this show a lot, and I have. I didn't enjoy it. I enjoyed parts of it, but it's not the worst thing I've ever seen either. Another person who watched it with me said, I've never read the book. I don't remember the miniseries. It's not that bad. To end this review, I think that's probably true. If you've never read the book, if you've not seen the miniseries, well, then I think it's going to be confusing to you. But if you can get through the plot, because there's so much non-linear jumping back and forth that doesn't really go anywhere, if you can get through that, then it's probably not the worst thing you've ever seen, which is a huge insult because this is Stephen King and one of Stephen King's best novels. The last thing you want to do, you either want to swing for the fences, completely miss it, and make something interesting but sucks. But what you've made is meandering and boring. So the new stand is just kind of meanders and is boring. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly.
And welcome back, everybody, to the last few moments of Scarefest TV. That, of course, was Joe Lewis and his peanut butter flavored cologne. I can't believe that nobody in the chat room was talking about the damn cat. I cannot believe that nobody brought up the cat. Joe, if you're out there, if you're listening, I was waiting for that cat to lick his ass. I was just hoping so much. Anyway, Cailee, I do throw out there on your ghost stories. You got to remember, ghosts by and large are douches. They just, not evil, not demons, just douches. I'm coming more and more to that realization.
That's been my experience too.
One last question before we get our final plugs in for you. what did COVID look like to you in the early days, at least? It sounds to me like after a week or two, y'all just went ahead and went about your business. But did you binge
That's how it
watch?
seemed, yeah. For me, I was working in another restaurant. My doctor said, go home and don't go back out until I tell you. So I spent about 5 months straight at home, losing my mind. It's the longest I'd ever been out of work. Luckily, it got me time to, kind of perfect our menu a little bit. But it definitely we actually, for the first couple months, would just drive around to get out of the house, and we would just look at how scarily dead the city was, especially a tourist city like this. It's never slow. There's always people around. So for the first little bit, it definitely was. But then, as soon as October came around, everyone decided we're going to forget about COVID and go do what we were going to do anyway.
I'm telling them in the chat room that yes, we did our celebrity announcement. You just were not paying attention. Anyway, okay, the plugs. Let's get you some plugs in. Let's anybody who's interested in helping them out on this project. Sounds like a hella fun. Tell us again, best place to run you down to keep up with this and possibly throw some money your way.
Absolutely. So to keep up with us, guys, the best way to do it is through Facebook. We have a group called Tales from the Crypt, Horror Razzles, and Crowdfunding, and that is where we raffle off horror and serial killer memorabilia and collectibles that helps us fund our restaurant while also helping you guys build your collections. You can also find us at GoFundMe. It is under The Crypt, a restaurant for the fans and by the fans. We're also on Instagram under The Crypt Salem. Any of those places is where you can find us, and always feel free to shoot me a message.
I cannot believe somebody's in the chat room still asking who Amelia Kincaid is. Night of the Demons. 1, 2, and 3.
It's Rue McClanahan's niece.
There you go. Oh my God, I didn't know that, but now that you say it, I see the resemblance. Oh man.
I just found that out recently and blew my mind.
So anyway, now after the show, everybody, we're going to sign off here, and then a bunch of us are going to head over to patreon.com/scarefestradio, and they're going to get the link to go to our Zoom really bad tarot gallery. Everybody keeps asking me about my really bad tarot. Here's your chance. $5 a month. Cancel at any time, but you get to do that. You get to be part of the after parties, and Thursday Night Dead, you get to watch independent horror movies and pick them apart if you would like to. So, everybody, this has been Scarefest TV. We want to thank Cailee Holmes for being our guest this week and for putting up with our little farm emergency last week. And
absolutely. Thank you guys so much. It was a pleasure.
So look her up, everybody. This has been Scarefest TV.